We now need to understand where the US stands relative to other countries and why things actually are getting worse here. As we see from the slide, Germany has 91 million people and they have about 3,400 traffic fatalities a year. They also have about 400,000 injury crashes a year. Now let's look at where I came from. That would be the UK. The UK has 70 million people. They have about 1,700 traffic fatalities a year and they have 200,000 injury crashes a year. That actually makes them number 1 or 2 in the world as far as traffic safety. Now let's look at the USA. 320 million people. By direct comparison, the USA should have about 10 to 12,000 traffic fatalities a year. That's a huge number. But we actually have about 1/10 of the traffic density overall. So you would imagine the US could be a little bit better than that. So we're thinking about 10 to 12,000. The US actually had 32,700 fatalities last year. Injuries, by the same comparison to Germany and the UK, the USA should have about 1 million injuries, which is just a huge number, but actually 2.5 million. The UK has done a phenomenal job and has cut traffic deaths by 80% in the last 40 years. That's just an amazing job. Many other industrialized countries have also cut their traffic deaths by 60 to 70% from the highs of the mid-1980s. The US, on the other hand, has only managed to cut traffic deaths by 35% from the 1980s highs. This is not good. We need to understand why this has happened. We have the best roads, we have the best tires, the newest cars, we have traction control, stability control, we have airbags in all the cars, we have the crush zones, we have radar now, we have cameras in cars. There's so much new technology. And we've probably got more new technology per car than anywhere else in the world, but now we've only managed to change things to 35%. Other countries, 60, 70, and even 80% they've cut traffic deaths. We need to understand this. Just to give another perspective on that, if we had cut the traffic deaths by the same as Germany, which is actually number 6 or 7 in the world, not the UK, which is number 1 or 2, we would have saved 20,000 lives a year and hundreds of thousands of injuries. That's just an incredible number. This 20,000 includes thousands of teenage drivers, or new drivers as I would call them. Anyone that I can call a new driver when I use the term new driver, that's anyone that's been driving less than 5 years. These numbers are tragic and do not have to happen. To understand why other countries are doing so much better, again, we have to look at a little bit of history. The USA actually used to be the number 1 safest country in the mid-80s. Number 1. And we were at 52,000 deaths. Now we're at 32,000 deaths. So we go, oh, we're doing so much better. We are doing better than we were, but just thanks to safer cars.